nooks and crannies of this nation. OSBC brings you the news. News across the country.
Good evening and welcome to the news across the country. I am Olushayo Babatunde. Osun Governor vows to retain mandate through the appeal court as tribunal obtains its election victory. INEC to conduct mock accreditation of voters ahead of general elections. Commercial banks extend work days to weekend for deposit of old notes. And death toll increased to 40 in Nasarawa bomb blast. And now, the news in full. The Election Petition Tribunal of Osun State has invalidated the electoral victory of Governor Ademola Adeleke in the last state governorship election. The majority judgment of the chairman of the tribunal, Kumai Tese, admitted the petitioner's claim of overvoting on the strength of Beaver's report obtained by the petitioners from INEC. Star reporter Adeboye Popola was at the tribunal and now reports.
The tribunal chairman noted that the Beaver's reports that the petitioners tendered before the tribunal established that there were overvotings in 10 local governments. He maintained that by the provision of Electoral Act, the mathematical deduction of excess votes put the votes pooled by the former governor at 314,921. While Governor Ademola Adeleke total score was 290,266. It is on these results that the tribunal declared Mr. Adeboye Oyetola the winner of the last governorship election in the state, noting that the election was not substantially complied with Electoral Act. Earlier, the tribunal had overruled the objection by counsels for respondents that the Beaver's report from INEC server on which the petitioners predicated his case was vitiated by Section 104 of the Evidence Act, noting that the defects the respondents' counsels claimed were not materially strong to invalidate the admissibility of the documents. Justice Kume also held in majority judgments that the electoral register was not materially substantial in electoral disputes, saying the non-inclusion of the documents in the exhibits that the petitioners used to prove their cases did not discredit their claims of overvoting. The tribunal maintained that the Beaver's machine remained the primary evidence in the electoral disputes and is superior to all other electoral materials. The minority and majority judgment delivered separately by Justices B.A. Obuli and Kume were unanimous that the petitioners did not prove their claim in respect of certificate forgery against Senator Ademola Adeleke. Justice Obuli, who anchored the minority judgments, noted that the evidence on which the petitioners based their case, which is Beaver's reports, was not in existence and failed, as the data was incorrect at the time it was issued to the petitioner. Counsels for the parties spoke to journalists immediately after the judgments were delivered.
The dissenting judgment is what it is, and it's all about the issue of in the opinion of that judge. The reality on ground is that we are dissatisfied, and the necessary legal steps for the purpose of challenging that judgment, we will embark upon it.
I have a belief that the Court of Appeal has a duty here.
Adeboye Popola, OSBC News.
In a swift reaction to the judgment by the tribunal, Senator Ademola Adeleke has declared that he is still the governor of Osun State. In a statewide broadcast on the judgment of the Osun State Election Petition Tribunal, Governor Adeleke says he has the right to appeal and that he had instructed his lawyers to appeal the judgment. Governor Adeleke said the claim of overvoting in the judgment of the tribunal's chairman was unfounded. According to him, the judgment is clearly a miscarriage of justice. While stating that the mandate given him by the people remains valid, Governor Adeleke expressed optimism that he will be triumphant at last. He therefore called on the people to remain calm and go about their normal activities. In the meantime, the Osun State government has called on the people of the state to continue to go about their lawful businesses regardless of the speed of the Election Petitions Tribunal. The spokesperson for the governor, Malam Olawale Rashid, made a call while reacting to the judgment. He said the governor has appealed the ruling and filed for a stay of execution. He speaks further.
His Excellency has spoken and we reject the judgment of the tribunal. We are going on appeal and we are all aware of the minority judgment which clearly established that there was no overvoting and Governor Adeleke is eminently qualified to contest the election. So we call on the people of the state to remain calm and everybody going about their normal duty without fear of any molestation.
Meanwhile, protesters greeted the tribunal judgment that obtained the victory of Senator Ademola Adeleke at the July 16 Osun State governorship election. Some of the residents in the state converged on the Olaiya flyover bridge, Osogbo, describing the judgment as unacceptable. Over now to Saheed Adeboje, who covered the protest for OSBC News.
These are some residents of Osun State. They claim to have given Senator Ademola Adeleke their mandate during the July 16, 2022 governorship election, but their mandate was overturned by the election tribunals. With various inscriptions on their placards, they rejected the submission of the tribunal against the incumbent governor.
Abracadabra justice will not stand. It will not pass the test of time. And the mandate given to Senator Ademola Adeleke will stand. Injustice to Senator Ademola Adeleke is an injustice to all. All sense of sincerity, the judgment has been rejected, not by PDP alone, but with all Osun State electorate. The crowd we are seeing here are not PDP members alone.
At a point, they shouted Imole to further reinstate their support for Governor Ademola Adeleke. The PDP Caretaker Committee Chairman, Dr. Adekunle Akindele, Mr. Sunday BC, and Reverend Bumi Jenyo assured residents of Osun that their wish that led to the election of Governor Ademola Adeleke cannot be stolen. They enjoined them to go about their lawful activities as victory is ascertained at the appellate court.
My message to the people of Osun in general is that they shouldn't panic about this kangaroo judgment. The judgment cannot stand the test of time. It cannot stand the test of time. I know by the grace of God, Osun people have spoken on July 16th. And the mandate remains with Governor Ademola Adeleke. Adeleke is not a coward. He would defend the mandate given to him by the people of Osun State. So the people should remain calm. Ademola Adeleke is still in control and will forever be in control.
In the meantime, the protesters have expressed their belief in the ability of Governor Ademola Adeleke as the state's helmsman. For OSBC News, this is Saeed Adeboje reporting.
With less than 28 days to the general election, the Independent National Electoral Commission has disclosed that it will conduct mock accreditation of registered voters on February the 4th in 436 polling units nationwide. This was made known today by the INEC chairman Mahmoud Yakubu during a meeting with President Electoral Commissioners in Abuja. Malam Yakubu explained that the commission has taken delivery of the bimodal voter accreditation system machines for the election, which had been tested to ensure its functionality. Hence the need to conduct a mock accreditation of voters as done in Ekiti and Osun State's governorship elections. The INEC chairman also noted that 12 polling units have been designated in each state of the federation and 4 in the Federal Capital Territory on the quality of the country's 109 senatorial districts for the exercise. In another story, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and other stakeholders in the electoral process have insisted that the 2023 general elections must be held despite some challenges. INEC's National Commissioner and Chairman of the Information Committee, Mr. Festus Okoye, who made this known, added that the Commission is preparing hard for the election in line with its mandate. He said 70% of the non-sensitive materials for the election have been deployed. He added that the Commission has taken delivery of all the technological devices and will deploy for this particular election, and have also started training core members and other election staff that will be deployed for the conduct of the election. The House of Representatives has requested that the federal government close tertiary education institutions so that students can actively participate in the coming general elections. These resolutions follow the adoption of a motion moved by Ibrahim Tukura, APC KB, during plenary. Tukuba, who proposed the motion, stated that 3.8 million newly registered voters are students, accounting for 40.8% of the total number of newly registered voters. The National Universities Commission, the National Board for Technical Education, the National Commission for Colleges of Education, and the Federal Ministry of Education were all asked by the House to instruct all tertiary institutions to suspend academic activities during the election period. Furthermore, the Lord Chambari saw that the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) make special arrangement for students to obtain their permanent voters' cards. A coalition of students from different tertiary institutions across Lagos State gathered at the Oniko Stadium to show their support for the incumbent governor of the state, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Representatives of the University of Lagos Unilag, Lagos State University LASU, Lagos State Polytechnic of Technology LASPOTECH, and Lagos State University of Science and Technology LASUTECH, among others, were present. Reports say they presented the governor a certificate of endorsement pledging that 4.1 million students in the state will cast their votes in his support. Addressing the students, Governor Sanwo-Olu thanked the leadership of the students for their support, reiterating that this was a validation of his leadership. The governor also assured that his administration is focused on providing opportunities for the youth, as well as building tertiary institutions that can compete with those abroad. We're now ready with a story on the NYSC that the newly sworn-in members of the 2023 batch A-1 of the National Youth Service Corps deployed to Osun State have been asked to see their call up for national service as an avenue for them to sharpen their skills for strengthening the unity of Nigerian nation. The governor of Osun State get the charge while performing the swearing-in and official opening ceremony of the corps members at NYSC Permanent Orientation Camp in Ede. Ahead of the general elections, Senator Adeleke enjoined the corps members to live above reproach in the discharge of their duties as electoral officers and justify the confidence reposed in them by the electorate. Governor's Office correspondent Ibrahim Adeleke brings the details.
As a mark of honor, the newly deployed corps members of the 2023 batch A-1 mounted a guard of honor to welcome Governor Ademola Adeleke to the NYSC Permanent Orientation Camp, Ede. The governor was led to the parade ground where he took salute while national, Osun State and NYSC anthems were rendered. In his address, Governor Adeleke asked the youth corps to see their service year as a time to contribute their quota to the development of key sectors of the societies where they will be deployed for their primary assignment. He assured them that the state government will provide adequate security for them to be able to serve their fatherland and called for the expansion of source of funding for the scheme to be able to build on its gains. He enjoined them to take the 3-week orientation course seriously, saying that government has put the scheme together for a greater task of nation building.
This is your time to discover your purpose as stakeholders in the Nigerian project. To support your transition in the nation building, the NYSC scheme is being funded to enhance the development of different sectors and grassroots level. I enjoin you to take your trainings during the 3-week orientation course and indeed the service year seriously. This is a demonstration of your life. You must make it count. Our government will continue to provide adequate security and follow circulation, making friends and engage freely with one another. What brought us together as a nation is more and stronger than what which divides us.
Senator Adeleke stressed that Osun State is beautiful with peace-loving and accommodating people. Earlier in his address of welcome, the state coordinator of NYSC, Mrs. Abdulwahab Olayinka, welcomed the corps members to the first post-COVID ceremonial swearing-in ceremony in the state. She explained that a total number of 2,059 corps members, comprising of 1,509 deployed to the state and 550 others dislodged from Lagos for orientation in Osun State, have reported for camp. She admonished them to always deploy their social media handles positively and avoid spreading hatred and fake news.
I wish to appreciate His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Osun State, and the good people of Osun State for their support for the scheme and our members. The provision of a conducive environment and welfare for corps members has been a motivating factor for corps members serving in the state. Thank you, sir, Your Excellency. The 3 weeks orientation course, which is the first phase of the service year, is sacrosanct to the achievement of the NYSC objective, its vision and mission.
Earlier, the Chief Judge of Osun State, Justice Oyebola Adepele Ojo, who was represented by Justice Olusegun Agbola, administered oath of allegiance and service here on the youth corpus. High points of the ceremony was the cultural display, thug of war and salute to the governor. On the entourage of the governor included the Secretary to the State Government, Alhaji Teslim Igbalaye, Chief of Staff to the Governor, Alhaji Kasim Akinleye, among several others. It has been Abdurrahim Adekileku reporting.
The Speaker of the Osun State House of Assembly, Honorable Simoto Oweye, has expressed satisfaction with the judgment of the State Elections Petition Tribunal. This is contained in the statement by the media aide of the Speaker, Mr. Kunle Alabin Oshobo. He ordered the judgment delivered today by the Chairman of the Tribunal, Justice Tese Kume. This is the news across the country coming to you from Osun State Broadcasting Corporation, Voice of the West Nigeria. Now our news message. Never believe you are above or below anyone. Keep a humble spirit with everyone around you. Members of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, NSC Osogbo branch, have been advised to go for regular medical checkup. The chairman of the association, Engineer Wase Ijogu, gave the advice at the monthly statutory general meeting of the society. OSBC reporter Kendi Ujedele has the details.
In his opening remarks, the chairman of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Osogbo branch, Engineer Wasidu, appreciated the members of the society for their perseverance and commitment since inception of his administration. He stressed that the first general meeting for year 2023 is dedicated to check the health status of their members as to avoid available deaths among the engineers and urge them to endeavor to do regular checkups.
We know engineers are always occupied, we are always busy, we are busy thinking of how to improve the lot of the society to the extent that sometimes we neglect our own personal, mental and health status. So to impress it on members, we have been telling them that they should go for a functional medical check-up. But to show them by example, that's why we have organized the program today.
Engineer Edowu assured members of the society that the incumbent executive will work tirelessly in ensuring that the branch gets a befitting secretariat. Delivering his lecture, the guest speaker, Dr. Bashir Fatoki, who is a senior consultant at the Department of Family Medical Unit of the Union Osun Teaching Hospital, stressed that health is about complete physical and mental well-being of individuals. Dr. Bashir noted that genetic, environment, and lifestyle are major factors that affect healthy living, adding that 60% of what affect the well-being dwell more on people's lifestyle.
Respect for our health are multivariant, but there are 3 major factors that can affect our health. One of the first factors is our lifestyle. That lifestyle is the way we live our life, that's the way we live our day-to-day activities. And that factor is the environmental factor. And the other factor is also the genetic factor. We, as human beings, we have direct control on the first factor, which is the lifestyle. Then the other factors, the environmental and also the genetic factor, we have less control over that.
He urged people to practice a healthy lifestyle and maintain regular checkups, which will help to reduce the risk of getting sick, dictating life-threatening health conditions early, among others.
In lifestyle modification is that, one, our diet, the way we eat, we need to modify it. And also exercise is very, very important. We need to exercise our body. And also drug abuse, we need to run away from that. And also substance abuse like cigarette, alcohol, drugs like tramadol, we need to run away from them because they have direct effect on our health. And also our sleep is very, very important.
Highlight of the event were medical screening, auditing of the society accounts. Kendi Daily reporting for OSBC News.
Commercial banks in Nigeria have extended their workday to weekends for customers to deposit their old Naira notes. The action is in response to the deadline set for the collection of old Naira notes by the Central Bank of Nigeria, with Emefiele, the CBN, unwilling to extend the Tuesday, January 31 deadline. Many fear that over 50% of Nigeria's unbanked population may lose their cash savings following CBN's requirement that old notes could only be exchanged through an existing bank account. The death toll from a bomb blast that struck a group of houses in central Nigeria had risen from 27 to 40. This was disclosed today by Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule. The explosion on Wednesday took place in Lukobi, a village on the border between Nasarawa and Benue States, a region known for ethnic and religious violence. The governor told newsmen that it was earlier rumored that the Air Force carried out the bombing, but later got to know that there was no Air Force plane that flew in the area. A New Year feast organized by the Teachers Special held tomorrow at the Revival Camp in Jebucheshe Road in Lo Ayegunle in Elisha. As known by the Teachers Special Initiator, Mr. Joshua Ajayigbe, and Program Coordinator, Mr. Fai Yokun, adds that the feast is tagged restoring the three core values of education. According to the statement, government representatives, Ministry of Education officials, college professors, lecturers, school teachers, proprietors, proprietresses, among other stakeholders are expected at the event. The 10th anniversary of Fadilato Sheikh Abdulgani Adegboye Olubudo, as the Chief Imam of Ansar-Din Central Mosque, Gifon Rululand, comes up tomorrow morning in the ancient town. Are released by the chairman of the planning committee, Ustaz Suleiman Mustafa, and Mr. Adegboye Gamusefiu, states that the program holds under the chairmanship of Baba Adini of Gifon Rululand, Alhaji Hamed Arire Mako, Alhaji Bashir Akogbe, Alhaji Aishat Kajobola as Mother of the Day, while Alhaji Isabello and Alhaji Additional Assalam are guests of honor. It indicates that the special guest of honor of the 10th anniversary of the Imamship of Sheikh Olubudo is the Area Muslimi of Ifon Land, Engineer Ishaq Olaride. Alhaji Suleiman Tawa Khalito is the father of the day, while the chairman of Ansar-Din Society of Nigeria in a local government area, Mr. Rahil Samato, is the chief host. Guest lecturer is a senior advocate of Nigeria, Alhaji Mahmoud Additional. The death has been announced of Mr. Dakwad Adekunle of Adekunle Compound of Work with Gongon. Mr. Adekunle, a versatile legal practitioner based in Ile-Ife, paid a welfare will at the age of 53. Question wake and commendation service for the deceased is all the way at his residence as a just magistrate court off Gongon Oshogo Road in Gongon, whereas service comes up tomorrow at the same venue. And now talking sports, the Super Falcons will participate in the Four Nation Invitational Tourney tagged Revelation Cup in Mexico next month. Adeyemi Abodere has the details.
Super Falcons head coach Randy Waldron has invited 23 players for next month's Revelation Cup tournament in Mexico. Nigeria will trade tackles with host Mexico, Costa Rica and Colombia in the Revelation Cup, which will run from February 15 to 22nd. The Super Falcons will look to snap out a 5-game losing streak that started with loss to Morocco in the semi-finals of the African Cup of Nations in Cameroon. The tournament is scheduled to prepare the Falcons for the challenges at the 9th FIFA Women's World Cup Finals in Australia and New Zealand later in July. Nigeria's first game of the tournament is against host Mexico on February 15, before the 9-time African champions lock on with Colombia on February 18. The Falcons' last match at the Four Nation tournament will be against Costa Rica on February 21st. The invited players include Asuzat Oshoala, Onomi Ebi, Osinachi Ohali, Luatosin Demeyi, Rashidat Ajibade, among others, while Akudo Ogbona remains the only home-based players who made the roster. The Nigerian Football Federation has confirmed that the Super Falcons will depart the country country from Mexico on February 11 for the tournament. Meanwhile, Nigeria international Odion Hialo has revealed what transpired 2 hours before the Super Eagles missed the 2022 FIFA World Cup ticket at the expense of Ghana's Black Stars. Ihalo, who plays for Al Hilal of Saudi Arabia, claimed that he and Victor Osimhen were the strikers for the starting lineup during practice, but the formation was changed a few hours to the game. According to him, he was informed about 2 hours before the game that he was not going to start. He called that Angola's draw in Kumasi and a 1-1 draw in Nigeria delivered the Qatar 2022 ticket to Black Stars on away goal route. In the meantime, the Flying Eagles pre-African Cup of Nations under-20 friendly matches against the Junior Chipolopolo of Zambia will now hold on 3rd and 6th of next month in Abuja as against the initial January 27th and 30th dates. Nigerian Football Federation and his Zambian FA counterpart had rubber stamped the team-up games, which is expected to prepare both teams for the African Cup of Nations under-20 tournament that will kick off in Egypt from February 19th to March 11th. 2-leg friendlies will hold at the MKO Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. Interestingly, both the Flying Eagles and Junior Chipolopolo have qualified for the CAF Under-20 African Cup of Nations. Former Super Eagles coach Samson Siasia's hope of overturning his 5-year ban for alleged marks fishing by FIFA suffered hiccups on Thursday as a U.S. appeal court has dismissed the case. The former Nigerian player and coach had dragged the World Soccer Governing Body before the court seeking to overturn his lifetime ban, later reduced to 5 years for match fixing. But in a 3-0 decision on Thursday, the second U.S. Court of Appeals in Manhattan said Samson Siasia did not show why a trial court in New York had jurisdiction over the case. FIFA had in 2019 imposed that lifetime ban, saying Siasa violated its code of ethics over a bribery scheme. The Nigerian chapter of Little League International, promoting the game of baseball by catching them young, has zoned the Southwest edition of the tournament for the year 2023 to Ara in Egbedore local government area. About 80 puppies and 15 officials are expected at the event, which will take place between the 1st and 6th of next month. Venue of the tournament, tagged 2023 Alara Little League Baseball Tournament, is Baptist Secondary Grammar School, Ara. Sport update returns tomorrow. My name is Adeyemi Abode.
To end the news across the country, here again are the major points. Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke has appealed the ruling of the Osun State Petition Tribunal, filed a stay of execution, just as the tribunal invalidated his electoral victory in the last state governorship election and declared former Governor Adegboyega Oyetola as winner. With less than 28 days to the general election, the Independent National Electoral Commission has disclosed that it will conduct mock accreditation of registered voters on February 4 in 436 polling units nationwide. Said commercial banks in Nigeria have extended their work days to weekends for customers to deposit their old Naira notes. The death toll from bomb blasts that struck a group of herders in Nasarawa State has risen from 27 to 40. And that was the news across the country as put together by Ulushayo Babatunde. Thanks for listening. Good evening.